Suntem împreună cu Allan Kleynhans, unul dintre cei mai proeminenți speakeri de dezvoltare personală din lume și unul dintre speakerii care vorbesc în echipa lui Tony Robbins, cel mai renumit coach de dezvoltare personală, trainer din lume. Bună dimineața, Allan! Ce mai faci în dimineața asta? Cum e în România?
Bună dimineața, Alex, thank you.
I thought I will make a joke, but you know Romanian already.
Okay, yeah, I can understand. I can say good morning and good afternoon and good evening. That's about it, really.
So, tell us, for the Romanian audience, a little bit about yourself. And your meeting with Tony Robbins, and what does it mean to be part of his team? You have a career and practice of your own, but you are also part of Tony Robbins' team.
Yeah. Well, I'm South African by birth, and I grew up in South Africa, although I've been living in London for many years now, since about 1990. I've lived in several countries. I've lived in the United States, I've lived in Europe, but England has been my home for about 28 years now. And yes, I am one of a group of elite trainers and coaches that are affiliated with Tony. We're one of Tony's trainers, and it's been a fascinating journey. And you know, as a coach and a trainer, you know, I get to speak to many people and interact with many people, and it's been a great journey. It's taken me around the world, and it's great to be part of that team. It's an amazing team. Tony's got many fans here in Romania. And obviously is very popular all around the world, and many people are, you know, fans of his work and his strategies, etc. And his work affected my life in a big way too. So it's 19 years that I've been in that team or in that environment, and it's been a fantastic journey. Yeah.
How have you met him?
Well, I first came across his work in 1990 when I read the book. It was Unlimited Power. It was the first book I bought.
An incredible book for that young person.
Yes,
he was at the time.
Yeah, he was in early 20s, and when he wrote that book, fascinating book, brilliant book. And then it was only 9 years later that I actually went to his program, Unleash the Power Within, 4-day workshop that I attended as a participant. Had an amazing experience there, and managed to get an opportunity to speak with him one-on-one in front of the whole audience, and it changed my life. Yeah, it was amazing.
And you have a message, $1 million message. It's a part of your training or your approach, this $1 million message.
I have $1 million message? Really?
Yes, you have.
Do I?
You say so on your website.
Do I?
Yes.
$1 million message?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you're talking about one of my programs called $1 Million Message. Yes, sorry. It's a 4-day training boot camp, 4-day speaking boot camp. I help people to take their message and turn it into a talk, you know. So anybody who's had a mess in their life or made a mess of their life, or in the past, we've all had messes in our lives, we've all had challenges, we've all had trauma. And so what I do is I help people to take that mess and turn it into a message. So to turn their story of their life into a talk so they can begin to deliver it to other people. So because, you know, we encounter people every day in our lives that have had inspiring experiences in their life, and they can all teach us something. So that's what I do. It's a 4-day training boot camp, yeah.
What does it mean for a person to attend to one of your trainings? What does change? With what kind of needs or problems people came, and what do you succeed to do for them?
Okay. Well, people come for all kinds of reasons. You know, people have challenges in their personal lives, in their relationships, you know, with their self-esteem, with their confidence, in their business. So it could be a number of different challenges that people are facing. What I do is I help them to shift their perspective on how they're looking at their challenges, so they can see it as an opportunity to grow. Because
it is always an opportunity?
Of course, always, yeah. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. But sometimes when you're in the middle of a challenge, when you're going through a problem, when you're going through a dark time, it's very difficult to see it sometimes as an opportunity. So it helps to have somebody to help to shift your focus and help to shift your perspective, which is what I do.
Do you have specific trainings for specific areas of life, or do you treat holistically?
I'd say it's probably holistic. I've got more of a spiritual approach. I enjoy spiritual psychology, and it's really about helping people to understand that there's a deeper meaning to life. There's a deeper purpose for their life.
Is not everything about money?
No, not everything's about money, no.
Actually, it's about money, food, sex, and I don't know.
Rock and roll.
Sports car.
Sports cars. No, it's not all about that. I think, and the reason I say that is because often you'll find people who are very financially successful are still unhappy. You know, so
do you?
Say again. Do you find those people? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. We all know people like that. We see them on TV all the time. You know, we see them in movies all the time. We hear about stories about these people who are financially successful but still unhappy.
I read something that touched me deeply about financially successful people. What good to afford yourself any Lamborghini in the world if you look in such a way that you don't fit in it, for example?
Sure, yeah, no, sure, I understand, yeah. It's, you know, there's also another saying that, you know, the poorest man in the world is a man who only has money, you know, so it's not only about money. It's about fulfillment, it's about connection, it's about love, it's about, you know, there's a spiritual side to life that a lot of us miss, you know, because we're so fixated on trying to get somewhere in order to feel good about ourselves.
So we actually are in a constant running for something else, for better, for more money, for more happiness, for...
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have been sold on this idea that more is better, you know, so there's always more of something, but really what they're trying to do is they're trying to fill a void within themselves. And I think you can only fill that void within yourself when you learn to heal your own pain, you learn to heal your heart, and you learn to just come to terms with that, with where you are in life, you know, and the challenges you've had, and then look at those challenges as gifts.
But Tony himself touched a lot of the side of prosperity and abundance in order to have a fulfilled life. Can you be truly happy without prosperity, without great deal of money, actually?
Well, he's not the only one who talks about that. You know, if you look at you know, a lot of the books that are written around fulfillment and personal development, I think when you're developing yourself and you are fulfilled, then what you do is you naturally become creative because you're tapping into your creative side. And then when you are creative, you can become prosperous because you can start to see opportunities to become prosperous in all different areas. So I think you can't be truly fulfilled if you're also not prosperous. You know, you can't be, you know, there's a lot of people who are truly spiritual and deeply fulfilled spiritually, but they are financially broke. And I think you've got to have both sides.
I was very touched that Tony not only speaks about prosperity in general terms and offer people inspiration to to bring more prosperity in their lives, but actually he had a focus to give people tangible means to build their prosperity. He recently wrote the Money Game.
Yes.
It's a very substantial book about how to increase your money on stock exchange mainly.
Yes.
He interviewed the most important money handlers in the world, heads of hedge funds, investment funds, and so on, people who make investments of billions of dollars, to give people the same tools and not only to give them inspiration, but also practical means to increase their prosperity.
Yes.
I think this is very, very useful. Do you also touch in your programs some practical tools related with prosperity or some other?
Not really, no. I do know people that do that, and there are quite a few people who do that, and obviously that book was a very, very good tool for people to do that, as you said, very practical for the average person to take their financial situation to another level. However, the training that I focus on is mainly personal development. It's mainly about the internal world, what's happening between people's ears, you know, what's going on inside them, their bodies emotionally and psychologically.
I read about you that you were vice president of Yes organization.
Yes, for 2 years, yeah.
What does it mean, this organization?
It's a fantastic organization in London called the Yes Group, Yes Group London. It's not only in London, but the flagship organization or the flagship group is London. It's where it first started. There are Yes Groups in different parts of the UK and other cities. And also Yes Group is also spread into Europe, in different cities in Europe. But really what it is Yes Group has been around 25 years this year. And every month, the last Wednesday of every month, they meet in London. So last night they had a meeting in London, or sorry, Wednesday night, it's Friday today. And Wednesday night they had a meeting, and it's the last Wednesday of every month, and they bring in inspirational speakers, and it's just a peer group of great people, like-minded, like-hearted people that hold each other accountable. So it's just a great peer group where you can tap in and connect with like-minded people, and people who are going to fan your flame, supporters that will support you in chasing your dreams.
You are in Romania because you have a program here. What it is about, when it is, how anybody who looks this program can attend?
Yes, it's tomorrow actually. It's at the Crystal Ballroom, the Crystal Palace Ballroom. I think it is in near Urani. I think I've got that right, Urani Street or.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a 3-hour workshop in the morning from 10 till 1, and then there's another one from 3 to 6.
Deci este trainingul lui Allan mâine dimineață la Crystal Ballroom de la
Crystal Palace Ballroom. Yeah.
Yes, Crystal Palace Ballroom. Say again the hours.
10 a.m. to 1 p.m., 3 hours, and then 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Ok, deci de la 10 începe până la 1 și apoi de la 3 mai departe.
Yeah. And it's what it is. It's just it's a presentation on how to be more empowered in yourself. How to turn your situation around, whatever you're facing right now. If you're going through a tough time, you'll find some great inspiration there. You'll find some great practical tools and some tips and some strategies that people can apply immediately to feel more fulfilled and more empowered to take on whatever they're facing.
Do we have inside everything that needs to succeed?
Yes, absolutely.
What is the source, and how can we find these resources inside?
Well, we must remember that we have everything we need within us. We're creative. We can have faith. We can be resourceful. We can be empowered. We can feel joyful. We can feel grateful. It's about tapping into the right emotions, our internal resources, so that we can become creative and create whatever we need to do.
And actually, it's about shifting our emotional state, because facing a problem, we are deeply inside that problem, filled with that frustration, anger, I don't know.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. When we are right in the middle of something, going through a tough time, we often are then spending more time in disempowering emotions. Frustration, anger, overwhelm, stress is a big one. Fear, and that fear debilitates people. It stops people from taking action. It stops them from being creative.
This is actually a question I ask myself this question many times when I face some difficult times. Should I try to confront the problem in that state of frustration, but trying to solve the problem, or to try to take a break, shift my emotions, but I lose time during that, because you cannot do it instantly, or can you?
Well, sometimes it's great to take a break, because if you are frustrated and you are trying to deal with the problem, then what you'll be doing from a state of frustration is just coming up with the same answer, and then you won't be getting anywhere. And usually people do keep coming up with the same answer because you get into a loop. So it's much better to actually just take a break, and just clear your mind and allow some inspiration to come through and shift your emotion. You can, you make much better decisions when you're in an empowered state, when you are in a much more empowered emotion.
Yes, but this also has a trap. I experienced this in my life. When I took decision in my best shape, I had to, I felt like I am the king of the world. I can do anything and everything. But when it comes to implement it, I was no longer in that great state, and I had to implement something that was great but difficult to implement in a poor state.
Well, there you're so accurate there. You've hit the nail on the head. It's about being consistent in applying that state, or putting yourself in that resourceful state.
Can you give us some tricks, some ideas how to raise our emotional state?
Well, the easiest one is to be grateful. We often forget that, And when people hear about being grateful or gratitude, they think, oh, that's so simple, But it's because they don't actually feel the emotion. I'll give you an example. I was driving through here on my way here to this interview, and I was in a taxi, and we went through a neighborhood through a neighborhood that was where people were living, very rough. And immediately I was grateful, and I sent them some love and a prayer, And I just sent a blessing to the people that I saw on the street, and I thought they must be really living in a tough place, right? And they have it a lot harder than I do, right? And immediately what it allowed me to do is be grateful for my situation, and then, so gratitude's a very powerful thing, and anybody can do it at any time, but it's about feeling the gratitude for what you have, and it's the smallest things you can be grateful for. And people they don't take time to be grateful for small things because they're always focused on the big things, So that's the easiest way to change your state, is to be grateful for what you have right now.
Yes. I learned that it's important not to keep, for example, if you have a glass of oil and people are in the dark near you, rather you should give them a little of your oil for them than to keep that oil for the grand event of your life, maybe happening 20, 30 years later, and in all this time you ignore the needs of the people. We build through small gesture, yes?
Yes. Yeah. I think what you've said now is about contributing to the people around you. Contribution is important, and we forget that we can also help everyone around us, even though we're in a tough place. For instance, there's so many people that are homeless, when you walk around London. And, then there's a lot of people who are walking around London complaining about their life, but they have somewhere to live. And all it takes is, just stopping to say hello to somebody and just connecting with someone and, making a difference for someone else around you. We can all make a difference to the people around us, even if it's in small ways. And by doing that, it makes us feel better about ourselves. Because when you give something away, when you give some of your energy away, you give some of your time away, you give some of your love away, then you get it back tenfold.
Actually, this is a miracle, because if you give something material, you kind of lose that thing. But when you give your love, you have more.
Of course.
This is a paradox.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and even when you said about giving some material, if you give something away materially, you usually find that you get that back later on. It comes back.
The universe brings back to you.
I'm a big believer of that. Yeah, definitely. Whatever you give away comes back in some way.
So, speaking about the event of tomorrow, what kind of people do you expect? What kind of needs? What kind of questions? What people should expect from the training with you?
We get all types of people. You get business people, small business owners, entrepreneurs, single mothers, students. Every type of person is reflected in the room, So people always come for a number of different needs, but they usually are similar, How can I be happier? How can I have more confidence? How can I become more successful in my business? How can I grow my business? How can I find my life partner? So it's usually the similar needs that people have, because human beings are the same wherever you go, really. And ultimately what everyone's looking for is a sense of certainty for their own life. How can I be certain that my life is going to be better tomorrow, next year, next week, next month,
But can we have certainty in our life?
Well, certainty is a muscle that you need to build internally. You can't get certainty from anything externally. This is the challenge that people face every day, and they don't realize, that people are looking for certainty outside of themselves instead of looking for it inside of themselves. And really what certainty is confidence. It's trusting that you'll be okay as long as you keep taking a step forward and you have faith in yourself and you have faith in the fact that things will work out okay. But you've got to keep moving forward. And this is the thing that people this is where people fall down or they get stuck, is they think that by taking a step forward something may go wrong, and they're afraid of the unknown. So,
so the fear of success is greater than the fear of failure.
I think it's probably not the fear of success, although there are people that suffer from that. It's probably the fear of the unknown. It's like, what happens if I try something and it doesn't work out? What happens if I take a chance and I make a mistake? What are people going to think? That's what really scares people.
One of the things that scares people, but it definitely doesn't scare you, it's speaking in front of the audience. How have you mastered this?
Practice. Just practice, practice, practice. I've been doing it a long time. So
I understand it's one of the greatest fears of the people.
For most people, it's definitely
greatest.
Yeah. For most people, it's the greatest fear. Apparently, for some people, it's even more scary than death. I think it's like anything, we can all speak. All of us are speaking every day to the people around us, to our friends, our family, the people we work with. But it's just when most people, when they get up in front of an audience, suddenly the focus changes because now all the eyes are on them. So, you know, it terrifies people, but it's like anything, you know, if you just practice enough, you get better at it, you know. So it's just been a long time for me. I've been doing it a long time. When I started, I was terrified just like everyone else because I was worried about making mistakes and worried about what people thought of me. But after a while, you know, it just became just easier for me. And as my confidence grew and I stopped focusing on myself and I started focusing on how can I make a difference, how can I serve other people, then it just became more of a joy than anything else, really.
Now, what do you feel it's your personal mark as a speaker and a trainer comparing with other trainers of the world?
Well, I'd say probably because for me it's about really, I love people, you know, I want to make a difference. And for me, I grew up in South Africa and I grew up in a really tough neighborhood. I grew up right next door to a police station for the first 6 years of my life. I remember looking over the wall into the police yard next door and seeing brutality. And then I was a soldier.
Yes, you were 2 years in
2
army.
years in the South African army. I was 18 when I entered the army and 20 when I came out.
It is mandatory or it was or of your own?
It was compulsory. So yes. At that time it was national conscription.
We had that, but we don't have anymore.
They don't have it anymore in South Africa. I think the national service stopped 2 years after I came out of the army, but while I was there, it was national service. And
but did it help you to be built as a man? Because we have this mentality: the army makes better men.
It makes men of boys, they say. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. In some ways, yes, for sure. But in other ways, no. I'm the kind of person who can always. I've trained myself to always look for the benefit of everything, you know, always look at the positive in everything and always look for the opportunity. But at that time, when I came out of the army, I had just spent 7 months in Angola. And we were there at the time. It was a secret mission. We weren't supposed to be in Angola at that time. And when I came out of that, after having served for 7 months there, it was a very traumatic time. It was tough, you know, I lost a lot of friends. I had to do things I wasn't very proud of. And when I came out of that, I couldn't talk to anybody about it. And so I suffered with that for a long time. I had post-traumatic stress. I had nightmares for 7 years. And as a result of that, it was, traumatic. And, I had severe mood swings. I was depressed for a long time. But I see that as a blessing now when I look back, because that experience led me to learning about psychology and human behavior. Had I not had that, I probably would not have been doing what I'm doing right now.
And not only that, but you can relate with other people in that kind of state and need.
Yes.
You have been in their shoes.
Yes. So answering your question that you asked me just now, what makes the difference for me, or what is the thing that makes me unique as a trainer, as a speaker, and I think all trainers will say this, you know, well, most of them will, I know, and I know I've got a lot of friends that are in this industry, you know, they'll say the same thing. They really love their audience, and I do truly love my audience. For me, it's when I meet people, I really want to help them I want to serve them. I want to help them to change their situation. If I see them in pain, I want to help them to get out of pain, you know, because I know what that pain's like. I've been in that kind of pain for a long time. I was in that kind of pain, so I know what it feels like to be suicidal, to be depressed, to be broke, to be living on the street. You know, I've had those experiences. So it's when I get in front of an audience or when I get in front of people, it's like, how can I make a difference to this person right now?
Do you follow up with people who attend your courses, or do they give you feedbacks? Look, this changed actually my life this way or
yes.
that way. Can you give us some examples, just of a situation of people, not their names or things like that, but just as a case studies?
Yeah, sure. People. I've had so many of those. I mean, I get them all the time, and I stay in touch with them online. And now with the benefit of social media, it's easy to stay in touch with people like that. But I just had one while I was here on the taxi. I just had a voice message from someone who I met a year ago, who was addicted to drugs a year ago, and has been clean for a year since we met and we spoke. We worked together. He recently just came to one of my workshops, $1 Million Message Boot Camp, and he just sent me a message saying that he just just been invited to his first talk at a school for teenagers who are challenged. And the kind of teenagers that get put into a particular school that, you know, where they don't really have any hope. And he's been invited to speak to those teenagers and talk about his own journey. And so very proud of that fact. And, you know, he's come a long way in 1 year. But I have that all the time. You know, I get lots of those messages all the time. So, yeah, it's fantastic.
What is your impression so far about Romania? It's your first time in Romania?
No, it's not my first time actually. I've been here a few times. I love coming to Bucharest, it's awesome. On Sunday I'm going to Constanta to do the same thing on Sunday, so if anybody is in Constanta and they want to come down to that talk, I'm happy to give you information of how they can find that,
yes,
the venue. But I've been here several times, it's a great place, I enjoy it, you know, there's, you people also have that Latin spirit, don't you, that emotion, that passion. So it's a fantastic place to visit. I like it. I'm looking forward to going to Constanta. I'm going to Iași, and I'm also going to Timișoara, I think. Timișoara. And I'm going to Cluj. So I'm looking forward to seeing the other parts of Romania.
So you're actually doing a tour in Romania.
Yeah.
București, Constanța, Iași, Timișoara, Cluj.
Yes.
5 towns.
Yeah.
5 towns.
Over the next between now, October and November.
So you will actually be back and forth in Romania?
Yeah.
And in what other countries of the world do you go and have your...
Russia, I've been to many cities in Russia, Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, Holland, America, obviously Africa. So yeah, quite a few places, yeah.
And do the people have the same basic needs all over the world?
I would say basically yes. You know, human beings are the same wherever you go. It doesn't matter, you know, what cultures we've grown up in or, you know, which religions we follow, etc. You know, generally human beings are the same. They generally have the same fears. They generally have the same aspirations and hopes.
Thank you very much, Allan, and I will say again for the people in Romanian about your event of tomorrow. Thank you very much for being here and for what you are doing in Romania.
Thank you for having me, Alex. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Prin urmare, dacă vreți să participați la cursul lui Allan Kleynhans, mâine la say again the venue.
Tomorrow is the
Crystal
Palace Ballroom.
La Crystal Palace Ballroom, începând de dimineață, găsiți informațiile pe internet, le găsiți și pe pagina Ozanei Giusca, care este facilitatorul în România al lui Allan. Vă mulțumesc pentru că ați urmărit discuția.